Hello everyone, welcome to Aligning with Purpose, a podcast where we explore themes of finding your true purpose, from quitting corporate, moving cities, practicing holistic health, and more. Join me as we discover our purposes together. My name is Julie Oshinaga, and I'm so happy you're here. Today is another unscripted podcast episode, and I want to cover everything from my first fall in New York, making friends in my late 20s in a new city, my holistic health journey here, and opening up a little bit about my spirituality. So let's get right into it. Lately, I've had the opportunity to find beauty in a lot of my life, and a lot of that has been through this podcast. Recently, I reconnected with a college acquaintance, and we were catching up about our lives where we are now, and it was really beautiful to see our evolution of where we were when we first met and where we are now. And it's funny to me because in college, which was already 10 years ago for me, I was a completely different version of myself. I'm still myself, but I was still discovering myself, and there was a lot that I was figuring out. And this is going to be a tangent, but I almost feel that when you meet someone at any point in your life, you sort of have this image of them because you met them at this point, and it's hard for you to see them grasp new opportunities because your brain wants to compartmentalize who they are and where they are. I think that's why they say your biggest supporters will be strangers, because they don't know your story yet and they don't know you from before. Whereas people that are in your life or that have known you, they'll know you from that point in which you met them. So it's hard for them to support you continuing to grow. That part aside, I was relating this back to this moment where I reconnected with her, in that there was just so much real love, and we were so excited to hear how we've evolved and grown from the last 10 years of our lives, and excited to see the path that we were both on and encouraging each other in this next phase of our life. When you can authentically feel happy for other people, that is one of the most beautiful places you can be in a relationship with anyone. When it doesn't come from your own place of insecurity, envy, judgment, whatever that may be, when you can fully be so accepting of someone else's growth and them challenging themselves. Even though I had just reconnected with her, I was so grateful for that moment because it felt so human, and it felt like there was so much support, and it was coming from a place of love and not our own egos. I think that is one of many reasons to see the beauty in humanity, that there's so many people supporting you regardless of if you see it or not. There might be people that obviously don't, but you can't focus on that. You have to focus on the people in your journey that are there authentically supporting you, and they want to see you at your best, and they want to see you grow and strive to achieve all of your dreams, because those are the people that you shouldn't let go of. I am so excited for this second unscripted podcast episode. I'm excited to be able to just chit chat today and kind of share a little bit of what's going on in my life. Right now, if you're listening to this in real time, it's November of 2025. It's my first fall season that I'm experiencing in New York City. I started New York in winter, so this is the last season that I have yet to experience. And I will say fall is by far my favorite season. The whiplash from summer to fall was extremely difficult, and that was probably one of the hardest weeks that I've had here, because it goes from extremely hot to 1 week just being really cold. It's not as cold as it is in the winter or like in January or February yet. And that change comes with feeling a little bit more lonely in the city. Even going to a cafe where I love to work, since I'm the most productive version of myself when I'm not at home. I go and I'm on my way home, and it's already dark and it's chilly. I see so many other people hanging out. I start to notice my aloneness, if you will. When in the summer, if I were to be going to a cafe to work alone, I wouldn't care at all if I was walking home alone or whatever. But as it's starting to get darker, I definitely notice it a lot more, that I am alone. Not that I'm actually alone, in LA, I loved car rides, solo car rides, because I would get to blast my music. It almost felt therapeutic to be able to drive on your own and get from point A to point B. And in New York, obviously, it's mainly public transportation. So there's people all around you as they're getting from their point A to point B. And you being alone is amplified tenfold. I had to really process all of that and to remind myself that I'm actually not alone. Regardless of that, the fall in New York is so beautiful. If you're planning on visiting, I would highly recommend coming in the fall. The leaves turning is extremely beautiful. It's unlike anything I've seen. And being able to experience the crisp air, seeing everyone be a little bit more, I don't know, there's a different type of energy in the air. And there's just so much beauty to the seasons changing, and you really feel that in New York. Whereas in a state like California, or at least Los Angeles, you didn't feel any of that. So it just feels like one long season, and winter was a colder summer. Anyways, I love fall in New York, and I highly recommend you come visit in the fall. I'm going to segue a little bit. In New York, when it's cold, I have a really hard time leaving my house because we're just going to be hit with the cold wind right away. And as someone who has been enjoying early morning workouts, it's been extremely difficult to get myself the motivation to go and get my workout in because I know that I have to walk there or take public transportation. I can't just hop in my car, blast the heater, and then get to my class. So that's been a big challenge. And I will say being in routine in New York has been a lot harder. Not just the weather, but as someone who has gone back to the restaurant industry, my schedule is coming out on a weekly basis. So I can't fully predict what my week is going to look like. I have a good idea of what the week is going to look like, but it does shift when I'm going to be going into work. So not being able to fully plan out a week ahead is definitely challenging because it does throw me off. So this year, that's been one of my biggest challenges, is not having that steady routine as you would in a 9-to-5 job, since in a 9-to-5 job, you know exactly what your work hours are going to be Monday through Friday. So I just try not to be as hard on myself this year as I'm figuring out my new life, my routine, and find ways to build routine as much as I can. One thing that I don't negotiate on is my morning routine. So in the mornings when I wake up, before I brush my teeth, I will put a tablespoon of unrefined coconut oil in my mouth and I'll swish it in my mouth for 10 minutes. This is a non-negotiable. If I don't do this in the morning, I just feel absolutely gross. I've been doing this for maybe a year now, or over a year at this point. I started this back in LA, and I do this to clear out all the bacteria in your mouth that has accumulated through the night. And by swishing it for 10 minutes, it's supposed to reduce and take out all the plaque. People might think 10 minutes is a really long time to be swishing oil in your mouth. Isn't that hard? One, no, it's not hard. You just can't think about it. And when you have the oil in your mouth for 10 minutes, do other things so it distracts you. When I'm oil pulling, I will wash my face, do my skincare routine, I'll change into my other outfit. And usually by then 10 minutes is pretty much up. But if not, you can just do other things to make sure that you're, being productive while you're swishing the oil in your mouth. Then after I spit it out, the key thing is you can't spit it out in your sink because coconut oil will harden. So you always have to toss it in a trash can. And then from there, I'll brush my teeth and finish up my rest of my morning routine. After I oil pull, I'll come back to my room and I try to do my spiritual practice. And I'll admit I've been really bad about it lately and I need to get back into a better routine with this. It is really important for us to be practicing good spiritual health. So when I can, I will sit back on my bed where I'm at right now. And then I'll put my timer on for 4 minutes. And sometimes I'll put on meditative music, sometimes I won't. But I'll do a grounding exercise. This isn't meant to be a meditation, just something for your body, mind, and soul to come back into one place and for you to feel safe in your body. And I'll do a visualization exercise that I learned through a spiritual course that I took. I'll often imagine branches or roots growing from the soles of my feet down into the core of the earth. And I'll sit there and I'll make sure that I feel calm. I could feel my breath and make sure everything is just connected and I am one with myself. After the timer goes off and I feel grounded, I tend to feel this glow, this like fuzziness. And that's how I know that it kind of worked. From there, from my bed, I will light up my sage. And then after I light up my sage, I sage myself from the bottom of my feet all the way to the top. And I ask my spirit guides and my angels and my ancestors to help clear any energy that's attached to me that doesn't belong to me. After I do that, then I'll protect my energy with the help of my guides, and then I'm ready to take on the day. In a city like New York City, it is so chaotic, so it is important for you to ground yourself. And whether or not you believe in spirituality or you practice it, the concept of clearing your energy, protecting your energy, and grounding down into your body is important. So I think that can be applied to anyone, regardless of if you're spiritual or not. And when I do it, I know that I'm going to be protected for the day and that I am in good hands. So do what helps you get through your day. But if you are feeling frazzled, take the time to ground yourself, especially in the morning, because that sets the tone for your day. And for me, that's really important with my holistic health, is making sure that not only my mental health and my physical health is in check, but also my spiritual health. And doing these 3 short exercises in the morning definitely really help. Oh, also, there's one that I missed, and it's doing gratitudes. So after all of that, I'll do gratitudes. Clearly, I've been bad about it because I forgot about it, but I'll try to do 10 gratitudes in the morning. And I was writing it down, and that had put on so much pressure. So now I just do it internally where I'll think about the gratitudes. But it can be as small as I am grateful for the clean air that I get to breathe in that provides me with a lot of life. Practicing gratitudes allows you to help reframe your mind, especially when you're in a negative state. So I definitely recommend doing it. And that is a note for myself too, that I need to start doing them again. When it comes to my physical health, I will say in New York, it's a lot easier to stay healthy. You are walking a lot more and you don't even notice it. At least I have stopped noticing the amount of walking that I'm doing, and it's pretty fun. I love that I'm not stuck in my car. I mean, there's pros and cons to having a car and being able to walk anywhere. But what I do love about being able to walk wherever you're going is that it naturally will keep you in shape. Because I'm working out more with walking and doing my morning workouts, I notice that I'm hungrier more often here. And the amount of food that I would buy at a grocery store in LA for a week, it's gone in half a week here. I've never been one to count calories. I'll never count calories. And I'm someone who will continue to intuitively eat because you don't want to restrict yourself too much. But that is one thing that I try to practice and be mindful of, is being aware of when your body is hungry and then allowing yourself to eat when your body needs the fuel. You don't want to restrict yourself just because you feel like you already ate and that you don't deserve it. Your body is telling you and signaling you when you need something. So learn to listen to it. And if it helps at all, maybe it's just understanding what you're putting into your body. Like I mentioned, if you listen to the last episode, I try to always cook my meals and use whole foods. So I know exactly what's going into my body for most of my meals. And I know that it is very clean food or pretty clean food. So if I need to eat another meal, I don't feel so guilty of doing so. And I know that I'm properly fueling it with the best nutritious and cleanest things I could be putting into my body. The one thing I'll say is when it comes to physical health, I have been really bad at my sleep schedule. And that is one thing that I do need to work on. If it's anything at all, it's my sleep schedule. I am a night owl through and through, and I need to learn how to sleep earlier so I can wake up earlier and get my day going on earlier. Yes, I do my morning workouts, but I wake up so tired for my morning workouts that I'll need a nap right away. And that is just so counterproductive, and we need to work on that. So by the next unscripted series that I do, or the unscripted episode that I do, I'm going to commit to being better about my sleep schedule, and hopefully I'll have a better update for you then. The last thing I want to say about the small holistic health practices that I'm doing in my current life is also being intentional about the nature that I'm taking in. I live in Manhattan, so obviously I'm surrounded by a bunch of buildings and streets. It's a concrete jungle, but there is nature if you seek it out. There are so many beautiful parks in New York, and there are so many times where I just feel so in tune with the life around me. By life, I don't mean just people. I also mean the nature around me, the animals, the birds, almost more than I did in LA. Because in LA, even though there's a lot of nature, more than New York, or New York City at least, you're in your car all day long. So when you're in your car, you're not intentionally walking to all the nature spots. So what I notice is when I'm walking from point A to point B in New York, I have more of an opportunity to encounter a park or some greenery, and that's been really grounding as well. I'll make sure to take a moment to appreciate it, feel grounded within my body, and then keep walking along and keep going about my day. Doing stuff like that, even if it takes a millisecond, it does really help with my mental clarity. There's obviously so much more that I want to work on when it comes to my health in all categories, but life is just about being or trying to be a better version of yourself every single day. So, of course, there's going to be setbacks like me not doing my gratitudes every day, but it's making sure I'm intentional about it. So, hopefully, by the next time, I'll have a better update and we can work on it together. Making friends in your late 20s can be kind of hard. And when I was moving to New York, I was a little bit worried about it, but I was at a point in my life where I was so sure of who I was that I knew that things would unfold and work out the way it was supposed to. I'm super grateful that I had that mindset because it did all work out the way it was supposed to. But I'm at a point again where I've been in New York for 10 to 11 months, where New York is a very transient city where people are coming and going. And I'm already noticing that with the people that I've met. There are people coming, they're going, and things are naturally just evolving in your friendship groups. Naturally, always looking for more people who I feel inspired by and that I would have a good connection to. And making friends in New York is probably one of the easier cities to make friends in because everyone is so, or at least for me, this is my experience, everyone has been pretty kind and it's been easy to meet people. No one is as cliquey here, but finding the right friends can be difficult sometimes. But regardless of that, I am so grateful for the people I've met so far organically because they are some of the best people that I've met in my life. When I moved here, I subleased from a girl that I met on Facebook for 2 weeks. I was interviewing 12 girls so I can find roommates, and through that process, I met a girl who let me borrow her room. And through that, when I was renting her room, I met 2 girls that she was living with, and we become friends. And from those 2 girlfriends, that led to more friendships. They had cousins that lived here, so we formed a group and I started to experience new life experiences, and that was such a fun period of my life. Earlier this year, I did a flag football team, which, if you know me, that is very unlike me. I grew up being very not sporty, and doing something like flag football was just so random for me, but it was so fun. What I've learned is in New York, you should try to say yes to everything. And maybe it's not just to New York, but if you're trying to make new connections, try to say yes to everything if you feel called to do so. If your gut is saying no and you know that you might not vibe, maybe scratch it and listen to your gut. But I was saying yes to most things, and that led me to meeting more people and experiencing new things for the first time. Through the Facebook interview process, I also met 2 girls that I ended up not living with because logistically it didn't work out, but I knew that they would be such a good friendship match that we kept in touch. And once I moved to New York, we got lunch and it was just an instant connection. And I'm so grateful for them. You have no idea how grateful I am for them. I will say when you become the version of yourself that you want to be, that you're working towards, you also start to attract the right energy and the people that are meant to be in your life. And I can confidently say that these 2 girls will definitely be in my life for a really long time. From there, at the restaurant, I met a coworker, and my coworker lives in the same borough and part of town as my other LA friend that moved to New York. And so when my LA friend was hosting his coffee pop-up, that's when I invited my coworker and his girlfriend and my 2 friends from Facebook, and then we all just connected, and everything has been so amazing since. All that to say, this was almost like the butterfly effect. Everything just happened organically and naturally, and I'm so grateful for it, because if it weren't for these small things that were happening, if I didn't work at that restaurant, if those girls weren't happening to be moving out around the same time, I probably wouldn't have had the same life that I do now. And it goes to show how special these small interactions are, and that one small thing can lead to more bigger thing in your life. So saying yes to the things that you feel comfortable to is pretty important, or at least that's sort of what I'm learning through this chapter. I know I mentioned earlier that New York is a pretty transient city, so friend groups are constantly evolving. So I am excited for the more people that I'll continue to meet as I'm here for many more years. And I know that as I continue to work on myself and align with who I am individually, I'm also going to attract the right people in my life, and I can't wait to make those new friendships. Friendships is such an interesting topic because it didn't always come easily for me. When I was younger, because my dad was in the Air Force, I moved around in my early childhood where I had to keep making a new friend group, and that was really exhausting. Even for me battling with my own identity, I felt like I didn't know who I was, that it was hard to even find the right people to have in my life. As I've gotten older, I've really learned the importance of having great friends, friends that are going to support you, friends that you can support through and through. And there's just so many layers to having a good friendship. The last topic I want to talk about is spirituality. I know I alluded to this a little bit with my holistic health things that I'm doing right now. And as I'm talking about this, I don't even know how much I want to share. This calls for a larger conversation down the line. But what I have to say about spirituality is 1.5 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening. And since that moment, things have not been the same for the better. Growing up, I was pretty agnostic. I believed that there was a possibility of there being a higher being, but my faith was not strong at all. I didn't really believe in anything. And then this spiritual awakening happened, which I will talk about on another day. After this spiritual awakening, I had a very clear idea that there was more to life than the one that we're living right now, and that we all come here with a purpose and a mission. The other thing that I took away from the spiritual awakening was that we are so interconnected more than we know. And the big reason why I started the Beauty and Humanity segment in my podcast episodes is because I want to emphasize that we are so connected to each other, and we need to start to learn to take care of each other. I know in our physical form and life, it's so easy to get caught up in our own life and the things that are happening in our immediate circle. But when we see the larger picture, we start to understand that everything is working together, and the more we heal collectively, it does change the outcome of where we're heading towards as humanity as a whole. Those were some of the concepts that I was grasping in the awakening, and I was understanding the importance of us feeling the hopefulness and the gratefulness of life and the appreciation that we have for humanity. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, we are all human. So for us to hate other humans, that doesn't do anyone good. We have to learn to coexist, to love each other. And the big message at the end of this is love. The more we can learn to do that, to forgive, to let go, and to surrender to love, more healing is going to happen. I know for a lot of people that concept sounds very cheesy, but it is so true. Being in alignment with who you are, your purpose, is so important. When you're in alignment, that's when things start to fall into place. You have more blessings coming your way. And when you fall into alignment and you understand that you are the creator of your own reality, and as you start raising your frequency, and raising your frequency is embodying more love and not being stuck in the lower vibrational things like anger, envy, judgment, negativity, all those things. But as you start to become more aligned and raise your frequency, that is when things start happening for you for the better. So your mindset is extremely important. The way you talk to yourself is important. All the concepts that I've sort of mentioned in my previous episodes, in the lessons I've learned in my 29 years, because it is our responsibility to not only take care of the things around us, but really take care of ourselves. And it all comes down to healing ourselves. Whether or not you're spiritual, this concept can be applied to everyone. Healing is something that isn't a concept that you need to do if you're spiritual or not. You can do that as a human being. And I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. It's more so sharing my experiences in case it does help you, because I hope that by sharing my message, it helps at least one person out there. And knowing that we're so interconnected, if I can impact even one person, I can be happy knowing that I'm doing something that is aligned to my soul. I'm going to keep it at that. And just know that you are extremely special. And when I say you, literally every single person that is on this earth, no one is above or below anyone. And that even comes to other life forms. When we're talking about animals or plants even, all of the life forms have their purposes here. And we have to learn to respect every single life form and person and everything that surrounds us, because we are so interconnected. I think I've said that we are so interconnected so much in the last 5 minutes, but I think it's important to emphasize and never discount yourself, because you have all the power in you to create whatever reality that you want to. That is the beauty of life. You have full agency and full free will to create the pathway that you're meant to have. Being able to live this life and be on this journey is so incredibly special, and no one else can take that away from you. This Unscripted series is probably one of my favorites, to be able to just candidly share all the updates and my thoughts and all the things that I'm learning in my journey. So I'm excited to chat more. And hopefully there's some things that you can take away from here. And I'm really looking forward to sharing more in the next one. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Aligning with Purpose. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode. And be sure to connect with me on Instagram and TikTok at aligningwithpurpose.pod and @julioshi, JULIYOSHI. If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, please leave me a rating and review. Your support truly means the world, and catch you at the next one.